You're tuning in to the Black Hollywood Live Network, featuring news, interviews, and commentary on all things Black Hollywood. Hollywood redefined. From Los Angeles, California, streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is Black Hollywood Live, This Week, featuring news and commentary on This Week in Black Hollywood. Black Hollywood Live, Hollywood redefined.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host for Black Hollywood Live This Week, Dario Kristen.
Hey, what's up, everybody? You're watching Black Hollywood Live This Week. I am your host, Dario Kristen. Joining me today is DJ Jessie J.
What's up?
Courtney Stewart, who normally is here, is not here today, but stepping in for her is the beautiful Rachel True.
Thanks for having me.
And we got a full panel today. It's like the full panel of black men today.
It's
Black
Black
actors.
Hollywood
It's
Live.
Black Hollywood Live officially today.
It's pretty,
we got a lot of actors
pretty
in here
yummy up in here.
We got Demetrius Grosse with us today. We got Ty White with us today, and we got Dale Godboldo today with us as well.
Woo!
We got some fun subjects with us as well, talking about Kanye West and all those little Twitter wars he's got going on. Stacey Dash making a statement that's pissing off a lot of people once again.
I feel like the one thing I have going for me is that I'm not Stacey Dash right
Listen,
now.
that's
Like,
right now,
seriously.
that's a check mark for you right now, if I can be biased. Beyonce receives a death threat, and actor Nate Parker breaks Sundance records with his new film.
Yay.
But first, we're going to talk about last week's Buzz Meter question, which was, should Chris Rock boycott the Oscars? You guys voted. 90% of you said no, and 10% of you said yes.
Chris Brown should boycott.
I agree with
Chris
that.
Rock has to do it. Because
Yeah.
if anybody, that'll just be like the perfect. He's a perfect host. I mean, he's one of those guys who doesn't bite his tongue for anybody, and so he has a reputation for shooting from the hip. Who better to be up there?
Yeah, but it's one of those things that where you really is a joke going, because he's going to get up there and tell jokes. He's
Right.
really going to address the matter. So, I mean, he's going to have to at least be semi-serious at some point to address it.
No, remember his political show? He's very clever, very smart. I was in one of his early movies. He's a great guy, and I think it's a perfect forum for him. And I'm so glad that the public voted that 90% said he should stay, because it's ridiculous. The man has a family to feed, first of all.
Right.
You want to take him away from a great visible job where plenty of white people will watch and actually see him be the host.
And you know he's going to say something.
I believe he will Ricky Gervais his way through the Oscars.
Yeah.
I was on the fence about it though initially at first.
Were you
honestly.
really?
I was
Okay.
because of the fact, kind of what Ty was saying, is that I didn't want this to be a joke for him to come, have it as a joke. I wanted it to be a very serious matter because, if we're going to be boycotting and continuing the Oscars so wide and all these, serious campaigns, I didn't want anyone to feel like by him joking about it that it could be kind of passed off and not reflected on such a serious
I believe because
note.
he's an intellectual man, the jokes that he will make
They're gonna be
will
witty
not
and
pass
smart.
it off,
Right,
you
right.
know?
Yeah.
But I'm curious what you guys, I missed the episode where you probably talked about the boycott of the Oscars, because I got into like a little bit of a Twitter battle with people, and I particularly thought, first of all, the 10 black people who are invited don't show up. Do you think they care? Do you think that matters? I believe box office dollars and the movies we support, but that's, again, just my opinion.
Well, go ahead, Jesse.
I don't know. As a question, just read that actually the cast of Straight Outta Compton wasn't even invited to the Oscars.
Yeah.
I don't
So
know
how
if
you going to
that's-
boycott if you're not invited?
Yeah.
Well, that's crazy to me for a movie that's nominated and the cast wasn't invited.
Well, the movie
Yeah, but
was,
for
the
script.
movie wasn't
Yeah. For
the
nominated.
screenplay.
Script. It was a script.
True.
So you can
Yeah,
just not
I think that people take umbrage with that, but I will say, and listen, plenty of movies have been nominated that you're like, well, I don't know. But it's a really, really great movie. I think the cast probably should have been invited, but since no actors were nominated, and you were in the movie, so what do you,
You
think
were,
about it?
Demetrius.
Yeah, what do you think, man?
Well,
Straight
since
Outta
we weren't
Compton himself.
nominated, why would they invite us? Like, there's no
Yeah.
affirmative action invitations to the Academy
Good
Awards.
point.
I think it all
That's-
depends on, the value that you place on an Oscar, man. At the end of the day, okay, everybody wants to win an Oscar. Like, everybody wants to win an NBA championship. But there's the D-League, and there's international leagues in basketball, to use the analogy. So, if anybody has doubt of whether or not Chris Rock is going to do a good job, I think you just go on YouTube and type in Chris Rock host the Oscars and look at the tape, the recording of what he did before.
Yeah.
I think it's very serendipitous that he's the guy who's going to have the mic because, this isn't a plug for Chris Rock, but I mean he's already done it before.
Yeah.
And if you watched the last time he did it, he didn't bite his tongue, and I think this is going to be a really interesting show to see how far he goes with with just being candid up there.
That's true. Well, it's an interesting subject overall, and we're going to get more into it once we read the next Buzzmeter question. But one thing I also read today was the fact that they were saying they were kind of scrambling to find some of the people who were going to be presenters as African Americans. And I thought that was interesting because I'm like, okay, so you won't nominate any of the films, but you now are scrambling to find people to come in as African Americans and present. So I'm like, that's kind of a catch-22. You know what I mean?
I will say this: do you think we're going to talk about it later?
Yeah.
But were there that many great movies this year? To be honest, I mean, all movies. I'm not just talking black, white, this. I don't know that.
It was a weaker year.
It was a weaker year.
Thank you,
Yeah.
people.
Yes, it
At the
was.
same,
Television really held my
Television
yeah,
circuit, yeah.
TV is
Yeah.
holding it down, but at the same time, there were some performances. The kid from Beast of No
Yes,
Nation.
absolutely,
I mean,
absolutely,
tremendous.
absolutely.
And
Yeah.
what's his name? Jason Mitchell, Eazy-E.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
he was.
yeah.
He
Those
did
are,
do
you
a
can
great
give
job.
them you can give those guys a nod. Like,
Yeah.
'cause they
Listen,
was-
if
they did
Julia
some
Roberts
special
could win
things.
for Pretty Woman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
or even Marissa Tomei, who was great in My Cousin Vinny, but
Yeah.
that was kind of lightweight, if
Yeah.
you ask me. Was it an Oscar performance? I don't know. But
Yeah.
you're right. If they're going
that's
to.
But then again, look,
I liked it.
in all sincerity, if we really look at what the academies is, they usually laud a person who has a long career of great work, and then oftentimes what happens is the person gets a nomination or an award based on a career, and it just so happens that that year they get the award.
Right.
But if you look at a lot of the people who've received awards in the past, they've all had like years, strings of great performances, and then you look up and you're like, well, she won an award for that.
So
or
with
he won
Leo
an award
then,
for that.
man.
Yep.
So with Leo.
I think he stands
I
the
don't
best
actually
chance.
think that's an Oscar.
Yeah,
I don't think
exactly.
he deserves an Oscar
Thank
for that
you,
performance.
the
I don't.
director.
I think he put me
But
out in the
chances
cold, and
are-
I look cold too.
He could
I
win,
don't.
though.
I think he was really, really good. Do I think he gets an Oscar? I think he's had many better performances in his other movies
who
that
gets
he
it, though?
deserved.
But that's
Yeah,
how
who
it
do you
goes.
think? Who do you
But who
think?
gets
That's
it
how
this
it
year,
goes.
though?
Oh no.
It's a softer year. That's why I think he's going to get
It's a
it.
My
softer year.
favorite meme is the one though of Leo saying, "Wait, the year I'm finally going to win an Oscar and no one's going to watch."
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, we're going to talk about this some more a little bit later on, but I want to remind everybody to go to the Buzzmeter question for today, which is, are you team Kanye or Wiz? Because obviously we know about their, little.
Is there any
little
other
war.
teams?
No.
That's it.
Amber Rose.
Maybe Amber Rose. We can throw her in there.
Amber Rose.
You can throw Amber in there because she's had a lot to
Amber,
say about their
Amber,
little
Amber
Twitter war
Rose.
debate.
Yeah.
So let us know what you guys think about that, and we'll read those results next week. So speaking of that, Jesse, I know you have a lot to say about this Kanye Wiz beef. What's info you got for us?
I had to put it on there because we did Black Holly Live's The Beat yesterday, which is our music show, so make sure you guys tune into that. So we couldn't talk about it there because it had happened after. So basically, Kanye West changed his album title from Swish to Waves. And as
Swish.
Swish to Waves. So as he does that, Wiz Khalifa got a little upset because he was paying homage to Max B, who is a rapper from the East Coast who used to, apparently make the word "I'm so wavy" or sentence "I'm so wavy" popular. And Wiz posted something saying Max B is the creator of being wavy. Don't touch that. Kanye didn't respond to that, and then later on, Wiz came out with a comment that said, "Hit this KK and become yourself."
Right.
Wow.
Kanye took that and said, "Don't you ever reference my wife or put my wife's initials on your Twitter. Bro, first of all, you stole your whole shit from Kid Cudi. Second, your first single was corny as fuck." He went on to 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, basically saying, "You
Don't-
wouldn't have a child if it wasn't for me."
What about the pants?
What's that? He then went on to say, "I went to look at your Twitter and you were wearing cool pants, so I screamed that, grabbed those pants, and sent them to my style team. Hashtag Wiz wears cool pants."
Like in the middle of his beef, he was like, "But your style is okay."
But you look fly.
He then came out to say, "I know you get so mad every time you look at your child and say, 'Damn, she really got me on lock for the next 18 years. Talking about Amber Rose. In which Amber felt, well, no, because, Mother Rose always steps in with a comment.
Always.
She came out to say, "Kanye, are you mad I'm not around to play in your booty anymore? Hashtag fingers in the booty ass bitch." Kanye then deleted every tweet. Now, this is a paper of all the tweets that
Lots of
Kanye sent
tweets.
out.
But Kanye deleted it and was like, "No, I'm here for positivity."
Yeah,
So,
Yeah.
exactly.
that
I
was
just
the
wanna
part that
spread
got
love.
Probably
me.
has some evidence on him.
Yeah. Well, but here's my
There's a
thing.
phone video somewhere.
With a finger up a booty. You guys don't think this is all a giant ploy
For his new album?
Yeah, I think this is like
Well,
a
doesn't he
publicist's
say
wet
like thanks for the
dream
pub,
here.
thanks for the album?
He does say
Index
thanks for
fingers
Yeah.
turn to
Yeah.
Twitter fingers.
Like that's I personally feel like it was let me just make sure waves. People know the title of my new record and you think this is a legitimate
I don't care.
beef?
You involved a child, and
No,
I'm just
involving
like,
the child is wrong.
It's just like it just the rant went so crazy to me that it was like the first one fine, like if you felt that KK was your wife and he maybe just because Black China
First of all,
out here
I'm-
fucking Rob Kardashian, you never know what's going on.
But I'm well versed in weed, and I have never heard of KK.
Oh,
For the
honey.
record, I just want to throw that out there.
Let me introduce you to some
Really,
KK.
there is a KK?
Girl, yeah.
Look at this conversation's going a different route right now.
No, one thing I want to say though about this, and I said it to my boyfriend, I was like, if you went on a Twitter rant about your ex from years ago, I'm gonna think you're still hung up
And you're
on
still
the
rapping
lady,
about her.
and you're still rapping about her. I'm gonna think you have unresolved feelings, and I'm gonna break up with you. That's me and my take on that, because I think it's ridiculous to be talking about someone you slept with. And he also made a comment about like
He said, "I own your child."
I own your
Like,
child,
yeah, I
and he
don't
also
even-
said, it's hard for me. Who would date me after I dated Amber? Basically alluded to that, and that's sort of ridiculous. You put your dick in that.
just like,
she's a girl. She's a woman. I don't like it when people call people hoes or this or that for behavior everybody in this room might have done once or twice.
I'm just like your wife. His wife became more popular due to a sex tape.
I mean,
so
yeah.
why
Yeah,
are you coming
that's
at
the most
Amber
ridiculous
Rose?
part.
That's just what bothers me. Like, why are you talking about Amber Rose as a stripper and a slut when you married to?
But he did say there wouldn't have been if Kim had gone out with me when I first wanted. There wouldn't have been an Amber Rose, is what he was also saying. But again, you're still that.
He always says that.
The name
does.
is in your mouth far too much. If I was your wife or girlfriend, I'd be. Why are we talking about Amber Rose again?
Because it took Kim 10 years to realize, fine, I'll put my fingers in your booty.
He kind of deserved that one, though. If you're going to bring up the child into this, not that particular comment, but he
Absolutely.
was opening
Yeah.
it up to
I
have
own
plenty
you.
of
You would
comments.
never have this child. You would never have that child if Ray J didn't fuck Kim. Like,
I
I'm
mean,
just saying.
But here's my thing: these are both men who are over the age of 30.
That's
why
what
are
I'm
you
saying.
Why are you having a
No,
Twitter
Wiz is
award?
28.
Okay, excuse me. He's
Whatever.
approaching 30.
He's a grown-ass
He's
man.
a grown ass man, and you guys are having
Wiz
Twitter
Khalifa
awards?
didn't say anything.
But Wiz didn't say
never came at him. This is
He
all
didn't.
Kanye West.
He didn't, but I'm saying still,
did.
even
He
the
just
fact
said
that
KK is
He
not
knew
your wife.
KK would.
said-
Come on,
I'm
son.
saying, like,
He
that's
did
what I'm saying. He had to know KK would
knew.
set him off a little
That's
bit.
right.
He had to.
That's right.
He had to.
But he's an easily excitable boy, isn't he, Kanye? I mean,
I
that
mean,
doesn't
he-
take much
that's his
to wind
thing,
him up.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I stand by that. I think it's a great ploy. He probably got the name of the album out there a lot, even more than it already would have been. This again is something a
sleep.
publicist in the 1950s would have orchestrated.
Right.
Like today, is this an orchestration? I don't know, but it's the kind of thing they used to do.
course it
Well, maybe not, because Kanye doesn't really need the publicity. Just him saying.
Everybody always needs publicity.
I guess so.
I mean,
so.
I understand what you're saying.
married his
but-
PR.
Yeah, he married his PR. Like, if they just say it on Kanye's working on a new album on the show, and then he just drops it places like that. I mean, but this is not outside of Kanye's behavior.
Yeah, that's
He'll
true.
do this when he doesn't have an
Listen, and
album
I
about to come
like
out.
Kanye, but he also referred to himself as the greatest artist of all time,
did.
and I beg to differ. I
by
think
many.
he's super awesome and super talented, but of all time,
Absolutely not.
And then he apparently a TMZ reporter came up to him at the airport, I believe, and he went off on a TMZ reporter who was asking about the beef, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh, let me take a step back, man. You know what? He got all calm with me. He's like, I hope your family's doing good. Like they say he just had like split personalities almost like. So I think he's just too much of a hothead, and he just reacts before he thinks.
Do you think he's a narcissist?
Absolutely.
Not at all.
Just
No.
checking the temperature of the room, you guys.
Absolutely.
Just a little.
There's a little bit of
Just a little
narcissism
bit.
in all.
Because I think he's super talented, but the hubris
we're all
of
artists.
that him. Anyway.
I just want to know, does he believe most of the things he really says, or is it just for shock value?
That's a good question. I'd like to ask that about this next person, Stacey Dash. She came out to write on her blog after a week ago she was arguing that Black History Month and BET should go away. Every celebrity, Dan, came out from underneath the rock.
Everybody.
And my favorite being Gabrielle Union, who said, who?
The shade was real.
What is she?
She at
She did,
Sundance,
she did.
someone said, "What do you guys think about Stacey Dash?" And she said, "Who? What?
Yeah, she did. She put
What?
hashtag.
That
Sounds like a
Stacey
crazy
Dash.
person would
What are you
say
talking
that.
about? I don't know. I've never heard of such a person with that name. I mean, I know there was some crazy chick
Just
last
completely
week who
discarded
said,
her.
Yeah.
She was completely
That's probably the
clueless.
best
Like, she had no
response.
idea.
No, she actually.
She actually.
But and here's the thing. I mean, I can't believe I'm even going to talk about her because I put out a tweet the other day that said I don't want to talk about nobody whose name rhymes with race Stacey Rash. I just am not into it, but I'm gonna talk about her because again, she's entitled to her opinion. Whether or not we agree with it is
Absolutely.
This is a free country. So
But she's requesting an apology from everybody because she's only saying what Morgan Freeman is saying.
we haven't talked about Stacey Dash this much since 1995, so it's working for her. You know, this is
She got a
working.
job off of it. Let's just
Right, this is very
correspondence
much
job off of it.
working for her. I do know a few other black conservative Republicans. They don't take it as far as her. She had the nerve to say that, I listened to, here's this tape of Morgan Freeman, and he's basically saying the same thing as me. And no, he's not, Stacey Dash. If you bother to listen to the whole tape, what he says is basically, we have 1 month for Black History, and that's a shame. It should be taught every month of the year.
Right.
That was his point. She's taking what he said, twisting
Because
it.
Black history is American history.
That's right. She's twisting it to say we don't need it, but we're segregating ourselves by saying we need our own month or BET or
she said
award
BET is
shows.
racist and that it's messing with the mind frame of how people think about racism. Exactly, it's
Listen,
not
there-
the same thing.
There's the teeniest kernel of what she's saying that I understand, much like I understand how communism on paper sounds amazing, doesn't it? We all make an equal wage and we're all happy and we all have a lovely house. On paper, it's awesome. What she's saying, a kernel of it on paper is true. It is a shame that we have to have separate award shows and separate everything. I myself was on a Black Night sitcom, and I remember thinking, why am I on Black Night? But thank God there was that Black Night, frankly.
Right.
And it is a shame we were all lumped on one night instead of spread out through the week. But enough young girls and guys come up to me and are appreciative of seeing someone who looked like them on TV. So, some of her ideas, I get where she's taking it, but she runs with it in a very weird, crazy way.
She does.
I think what you're saying is what Stacey's comment misses is that there needs to be like an assertive effort to show multicultural stories. You know what I mean? So if we don't have something in place, clearly, the Academy Awards is an example of that, then it's really easy for people of color to be left out of the picture and the fabric of America. So her comment, while it's really broad, the kind of the underbelly of it is what you're saying. It should be 12 months, not 1 month. But the good thing is that Carter G. Woodson made it a thing, and so therefore it's in our forefront. So,
what did you guys think about the BET response to her? They said hashtag remember when you were on the game, and we don't mean the rapper.
2 points to that intern is what I say.
Wow. I still think the best thing was what Gabrielle Union did is just not to respond to her. I wish BET wouldn't give her any more pub. Like she doesn't need any more. Just ignore it.
Yeah.
Just ignore it. Like you don't give anybody like that who literally bites the hand that feeds you and does it in such a disrespectful manner that just ignore them.
I would be able to
It's
take her
just
more
such a-
seriously if she was a little more clever too. Because did anyone see her appearance in the Meredith Vieira show last year? She was like a babbling
she was
idiot. She couldn't back up anything she said.
couldn't.
She had her little talking points, but beyond that, she didn't actually understand her talking points.
Yeah, that's my problem with her. She's just uninformed. She's
Right.
just not. I don't find her very intelligent in terms of
And
what
I'm-
she's trying to communicate. Some of her points, like you talked about, we should have more diverse mainstream representation of content, of course. But she's leaving out why that is.
Right,
Yes.
right.
And so people are trying to fix that. People are trying to address that by creating Asian networks. It's like under that idea, you're not supposed to have Telemundo. Or,
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
What are you talking
exactly.
Right.
You know what I
And
mean?
also, Stacey's coming from a place of privilege too, because she's a very beautiful woman. I mean,
Yes.
she really is a beautiful.
I'm just not sure it's real. I
What,
don't
her
buy
talking
her, all
points?
her
Her personality and
her
talking
game,
points?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like her beauty.
I just don't buy it.
Well, she may be reinventing herself. Listen, I know as an
Sure.
actress of a certain age, it's hard to get roles at a certain point.
Yeah.
So this is her reinventing herself as a
I
talking
believe
show
that
pundit,
more
and I
than-
believe she will say whatever she has to say. But I was going to say her place of privilege comes from you're a very light-skinned, stunning, green-eyed,
Mm-hmm.
beautiful girl who you walk through and you are treated differently. You
Mm-hmm.
are going to be treated differently. It's like you're showing your white privilege is what you're doing, Stacey. I mean, really, or your mixed or whatever,
Stacey.
your green-eyed privilege,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
Because most people are not treated that way. And I've noticed this as a woman once I hit woman age, not girl. When I was a girl, people were like, oh, you're so cute. Ah, you're a girl. Now I'm a woman, and it's like, why so angry? Why so angry? I'm an angry black woman all of a sudden. Once I was not a girl anymore.
Right.
And Stacey has the luxury of looking like a supermodel. So people are not going to kind of come at her, and her experience in the white world has perhaps been
I don't
different
know.
than
Looks
some of
only
ours.
take you so far. I mean, she walks through the door, you might look and appreciate it.
Nobody
but the
said you were gonna date her.
But the moment she opens her mouth, you're like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
And she broke my heart. She broke my heart. You broke my heart, Stacey.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, Stacey does not represent the voices of black people, the majority. So prior to what some other races believe, she
But that's
does
why I
not
find it's
represent
weird that we're taking her so seriously. She's one pundit on a talk show. She's one person.
That's why Gabrielle Union's response was.
That's what I said. Like,
it
the
was
fact
like,
that we're
who?
talking about her
Yeah.
now is
Right.
helping her.
That's right. It's all
Literally.
raising her TVQ
Right,
and getting her more.
So
and
maybe
more.
sister can get a job.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
something.
Or keep a job.
Keep a job, something. Good luck with that, Stacey.
Good luck with that.
That's
Also,
all that happens.
good luck and congratulations, more so, to Miss Tyra Banks, who her and her boyfriend of 2 years, Eric Asla, had a baby
Yeah.
just a couple days ago.
Wait, she had the baby.
No, she put out a
honey.
lovely.
She too snatched for that. No, I'm just kidding.
I love. Read her state. Do you have her statement that she put on Twitter, or Instagram? Because I thought it was worded really nicely about her baby.
Yeah, well, I
I'm
did.
Canadian today. I don't know why.
I just keep feeling like you're attacking me for that. And it's like, I'm not from Canada, people. But she came out because apparently she had infertility issues.
Yeah.
And which also I just learned a lot about freezing your eggs. And
Ladies, if you can, you should. Frankly,
it's actually really smart in
If
today's
you're
day
in your
and age.
30s and you're not sure, you don't have a steady, it's a great idea. But she thanked her the surrogate mother.
She
and
thanked the surrogate mother.
Called her an angel, which I thought was super sweet of her. And Tyra was an awesome woman. So that's huge. Congratulations to her.
Yeah.
And I also love that just she has this big name, this big platform, and to be able to talk about that. I feel like, and I'm only doing this because I just had a one-on-one with a sex therapist who as she's in her 30s, she was talking about women really don't know what to do at a certain age if they want to have a career or kids. And so I love that Tyra, this big career woman, can be that for the generations growing up, that it's okay to, have a surrogate and things
I'm
like
just
that.
glad she didn't fake a pregnancy or something for 9 months. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
she.
I wanted to experience what it was
Right.
like being a pregnant woman, so I
Right.
wore this fat suit for 9 months.
But some women do. So I'm.
And she did that one time on her Tyra show.
Right.
That was
They don't want to
impressive,
admit
yeah.
they use surrogates, and I actually think it's really, really lovely that she thanked them. And she's fabulous, and she's running an empire, and now she's got a great baby to go along with it. So good for her.
Boom.
You know?
Yeah.
Also, guys, make sure whatever your favorite TV show is, head over to AfterBuzz TV. It's our sister network, so whatever it is, maybe Love and Hip Hop, American Crime, whatever your favorite TV show is, make sure you guys head on over to AfterBuzzTV.com right after. Bye.
Are we on a break?
That's her. Yeah, that's his break. Right. Well, we're gonna move on to hot topics, but before we do that, do you guys play any fantasy football?
No.
I do, but not this season. Not
Okay.
this
Well,
season.
Oh,
have you
you're
ever
gonna
done
have to change
DraftKings?
that?
I
Yeah.
love fantasy football.
No, not DraftKings. No, I haven't done DraftKings. I usually do Yahoo.
Yahoo. Okay. Well, another one you should look into is DraftKings.com because they are doing some great things with fantasy football. They have up to $2 million in prizes.
I'm playing now.
You're right. Right. I saw that
Signing
face
up.
change as
I
soon
like
as
that.
I
What's
said that
the
deal.
one that got shut down? No, somebody got shut down.
Oh, that was
What was it?
I'm not sure which one got shut down, but it probably was shut down because of DraftKings. Because you know what I'm saying.
Which
But if you
is-
go and use the code name Black, you can play all day long. You can have all day long, and you have an
Code name
opportunity to win
Stacey
a
Dash.
bunch of prizes outside of just
Like
the
$2
$2
million,
Like $2
$1 million.
Go play Black.
Use code name Black, and if you win, let us know because we really want to find out who's out there winning with this code, and
right.
you can share
I'll
some of that
let
money
you know
too.
next week.
Right, obviously. All right, we're going to move on to our EUR Web Story Spotlight of the Week.
Yep.
With no music today. All right. So, have you heard the story about Beyonce and what's been going on with her? So, apparently you should never mess with Tina Knowles because she is a mama bear to the full
I
extent.
loved it, though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I loved it, though.
So this is what happened. So Tina Knowles posted a picture on her Instagram of her and Beyonce. And, there's always some trolls and crazy people who make comments sometimes on these Instagram pages. Well, this particular person, whose name is Aviante4921, had this to say. I'm going to assassinate your daughter. My master plan is I could only imagine what that blood smells like. That movie Carmen she played in is gonna haunt her.
First of all, that was like years
ago.
Yeah.
But it still haunts me to this
Yeah.
day.
This is why I believe that you should have to use your real name on the net. I do, because half
Like
these
Facebook.
right, but half these but your real name, because half
then
these trolls wouldn't write this stuff. If your name was Benjamin,
If
what's your
you
name?
have to
Who you?
or if you have to somehow register
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
to prove
yeah.
that's validated
Because-
as you.
True.
Because again, like that's horrible. What
That's-
was written
that's
is
harsh.
absolutely horrible. Because I did a witch movie years ago, I used to get a lot of that stuff on Twitter, like a lot of that stuff on Twitter, and it is a little scary, and I'm sure that was scary for Beyonce.
Well, they
and
did
her
not take it
mother.
lightly. A fan actually reported the threat to authorities, as well as Tina Knowles. This is what Tina put back in a follow-up in her comments. Thank you, Jay Fintel, who was the fan who sent this over to the authorities. I just reported him to the authorities as well. They are looking into it. As he has said, he's going to threaten and murder my daughter and use sexual assault in a public forum. He is obviously a sick man and a crazy person.
I'm a little scared for the man who did that, because why would you put his business? Now this person gonna go assassinate that one. But my thing is this: we talked about this
Yeah, that was
last year.
You said
Doesn't
assassinate.
doesn't he know her husband has goons?
That's true.
Like,
I'm just confused because we talked about this thing on Facebook where this ex posted that he was gonna kill his ex-wife and murder her and put her, like, describe where he was gonna put her body and everything, and he got off because he said it was just lyrics to a song that he wrote, and that was his expressive way of getting over the divorce, and the court ruled it as
That's
I
brilliant.
mean, it's
That's incredible.
It's legitimate though, because Eminem used to talk about killing Kim
Put her
in
in the
every
trunk.
song. Like, I'm gonna kill you, and it was always Kim, and he would use her
C.I.L.
name.
Kim.
Yeah, it would be like so, and nobody would do anything about it.
Yeah,
So,
but-
but if Kim disappeared, everybody would look to him like, what happened, man?
artistic.
But I'm gonna say is
Sound
there's
like a
still
bad
fine
episode of
line
SVU.
when
But you
you
gotta,
like,
I'm sure he had to prove
There's-
that though. On
yeah, you
some
had to
level.
prove
He had
that.
to, show that he was a musician, probably.
That's
on
what I was
some
going
level.
to
You
say. It
can't
has to
just-
be a difference
Yeah.
somewhere there, being like artistry versus just making random comments on someone's social media platform.
Not everyone who does this kind of thing and leaves these comments is going to get off. Like you just said, that guy got off. I mean, my stalker got put in jail, and it was just. I mean, they did show up at my house, so there's
Right
that.
on.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
like 1,000 emails on social media, but they were in jail, and so this is a
Yeah, I had a stalker that they picked up yesterday too.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You have to. There's crazy people out there. You
and-
have to
And where
be
were they?
proactive.
Were they stalking social media, or were they stalking just in per-
Everywhere.
Really?
Really?
Online, calling me,
How
emailing
pretty
me,
was she, man?
threatening my life. Had nothing
Were
to
you
do with
were
it.
you nervous to
Absolutely.
look behind your back at all times?
I mean, the state stepped in and
Wow.
prosecuted. I'm actually a witness in my own situation now at this
Wow.
point. It's the people versus this person.
right. So these things.
So
these
see
things-
that from-
You saw that? You saw that? Did that, brother?
Not making light of it,
That was
but-
smooth.
That was smooth.
That was smooth, baby.
Not making light of the
Season
situation.
on American Crime
Yeah, also,
Story.
using the word assassinate in this is, again. But okay, when can we talk about their movie? Because I want to talk about
Oh,
it.
we're gonna get through one more subject, and then we're
TV
definitely
show. Sorry.
No, we're gonna get there.
But if they find this person, I believe this person isn't going to be able to prove they're a songwriter. They're not going to be able to
No,
say
I'm
those
thinking
are
not.
song lyrics,
Yeah.
and you might be put in jail.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to find out what actually happens with this
Fucked up
person.
world we
So
live in.
scary world. All right, the last topic of today is actually something of positive note. We've been talking so much about negative things with the lack of diversity in Hollywood. Well, Mr. Nate Parker, who we know from Beyond the Lights and Red Hook Summer, he just struck a really huge deal at Sundance. His film, The Birth of a Nation, which is the story of how a literate slave and a preacher, Nat Turner, orchestrated a rebellion in 1831, just got picked up and sold to Fox Searchlight for $17.5 million. They say this is the biggest record-breaking deal from a Sundance deal in
Also,
life.
how much do you love the title? Because if you know
absolutely.
movie history, that title
brilliant.
It's brilliant.
is using this title, which was in a very early movie. It was
Yeah.
the 20s. It was a very racist.
One
One of the
I
first,
thought
super
about that
racist movie. So called Birth of a Nation. So for
Yeah.
years as a kid, when I was growing up, I'd be like, oh, this Birth of a. I feel so uncomfortable around this phrase, and so I love that he's taken it back.
Absolutely.
You know what's really cool about that is that when everyone looks up "Birth of a Nation" on their Google or whatever, they'll see the most racist movie ever made, and then they'll see the most revolutionary movie ever made right after that.
I
think
love
was
that he's done that.
was
And
awesome.
also to break the record at 17.5 million, that is just
It's
kudos
huge.
to him. It's
And they
huge.
said it was only spent like $10 million on the film to create. But Parker was the director, writer, producer, obviously actor in the film. This is what he had to say about it, which the film was shot in 27 days. He said, "I never approached it from the standpoint of a director or writer or producer. I just felt like I wanted to do something with my art that was unapologetic, that dealt with the truth, that dealt with healing. And I didn't want it inhibited by someone that I didn't feel that had the same passion for those things. And he also said later on, I can't say that I was conscious in trying to employ people of any specific demographic. I wanted to have people who were complete, and I wanted people that understood that what the film was trying to say. I wanted there to be people that had empathy. A lot of people just happen to end up being African Americans. So good for him.
Did you guys happen to see, I don't know if anyone follows the fabulous actress Tracy Thoms on Twitter. She's a super cool girl. She was in Rent and a million other things.
Yeah, that's my girl. I was actually just at her game night last night.
Oh, yeah, she's an awesome girl. But she tweeted out that one of the trades, and I don't know which one, so it's like Hollywood Reporter, Variety, or back to one of them, were announcing what you're just talking about, the movie selling for 17.5, and what do they have a picture of? 3 white men. They found straight up. They found like the 3 white men in the film and one still of them, and that's hilarious. I'm not even kidding. I shit you not. That actually happened.
You mean isn't that enough that the brother directed it, starred in it?
Right. So what else you got to do? What else I got to do to get the picture?
3 white actors holding guns. That's
and I believe he gave up projects for like 2 years to just concentrate on this as well. So I mean, he put a lot of his own money into it. He put a lot of his own money into it as well. Yeah.
And it's about time this story was told.
It was one of them sticky subjects that they didn't want to touch on.
Yeah, who's gonna do it?
Like, who's really gonna touch that? It had to be somebody
because you're basing it on, there's a book where they painted him a little weaker, and then there's the real story of him.
I mean, what he actually
No, just
did.
the idea that what he did.
I mean, what he did.
What you're talking about,
what he actually did. It's a
revolting against Whitey, you mean?
Revolting, but like he went on a little bit of killing spree.
He did.
He went on a little bit of killing spree. So it's not many. They don't feel. Other races don't feel all the.
I don't feel great about him, killing people either, by the way. But we're also talking about a completely different time period. Like, I honestly think if I was like, first of all, I wouldn't be a house slave because I'm too dark. But if I was out of the sun and was a house slave, like I would poison that food. And I'm like a pacifist. I'm not even like a murdery person. But like, how you gonna trust me in your kitchen?
A murdery
person.
How you gonna trust me in your kitchen to cook your food when you're beating me?
I mean,
I'm gonna side-eye you, and then I might be putting some herbs.
Well, there was a lot more of that going on. I mean, there's a lot more of that going on than
there had to be, by the way. Of course,
and that was one of the things that I was really, excited to know that this story in particular was coming out.
Yeah.
What Nate's doing with this one, but there were revolts. People were getting poisoned and.
But what's any different than showing? Right, exactly, it was happening. But any different than showing like the westerns of the 50s and 60s with white people slaughtering Indians, Native Americans. Excuse me. Is
But have you
that's
ever,
a massacre. What's the difference?
It's not any
part of
different,
history,
except that you have the white people that are doing the killing.
Yeah, I mean,
right. That's the difference.
Nate, what's the movie? What is that movie where all the Native all the Apaches slaughtered everyone, and that was the point of the movie. That's all it was about.
Yeah.
Is that the Apaches rose up and took out.
No, Apocalypto. He was right.
That's a different culture, but there's
and it's funny. After I watched the Leo movie, Revenant. Yeah. I watched that, and I grew up on a native reservation. So it just blows my mind that movie was done so brilliantly.
Yeah, it was.
And throughout the whole movie, maybe this is why I don't want him to win the award. I'm just sitting here thinking, why wasn't this story told from the other side?
Right.
The whole entire movie.
Several people have said that same thing.
And it just blows my mind.
Yeah.
Oh, the Native American family that was trying to get the daughter.
Yeah.
But I know we're off track with this because we were supposed to be talking about Nat Turner. But there's a really great Netflix film called Reel, REEL, Engine, that talks about the history of Native Americans in film, particularly. And there's just a heartbreaking scene of watching these 8-year-olds watch some of these old movies from the 50s and 60s and watching their people get slaughtered. It's like it'd be the same as watching a black child watching a slave movie. It's a really great movie, so check it out. But back to this, it's really great to see stories coming out. I know there was a post on Jezebel recently where someone said, I'm sick of slave movies, I don't want to see another one. Now, that was a clickbaity title because their post was pretty good. It was like, I'd like to see the story about the black kid who becomes a skateboarder who da-da-da-da-da, or the black debutante's ball from the early part of the centuries and things like there. But listen, some of us in this room might have seen Roots. Some of us, but that was a really long time ago. There are a lot of people who haven't really seen many
And they're
slaving.
redoing Roots, yeah.
I know, but there's which, by the way, they always tell me you're too contemporary looking. Like there was a lot of me roaming around looking just like my ass. Maybe without the blonde highlights that I might have added. But I'm just saying I don't look contemporary. I look like a lot of people would have looked on a plantation from mixing.
Well, it's interesting because, first of all, I think Fox Searchlight is a great home for this movie because they tend to kind of take on these type of subjects, or not subjects, but films, more of the ones that wouldn't be as, like a 20th Century Fox wouldn't maybe touch it as much. But what they're also already saying is that this could be an Oscar nod, down the line. People have said in the past, why are there always Oscar nods when it comes to the slavery subject?
It is.
What do you guys think about that as actors
I'm
in
a
this
little
room?
torn on that because I think I'm happy that they're already considering it, or they're throwing the name, throwing the film in the hat for the Oscar consideration. But I'm eager to see stories like we see in other races where it's a shoemaker.
Yeah.
And they get nominated for
But
an
once-
Oscar,
and once
or they're a pilot. Well, I mean that happened with Denzel, but
Yeah.
I mean I'm looking for a wider variety of stories as opposed to just we're gonna make a slave movie,
yeah.
and even though this one is told from a totally different perspective.
And no disrespect to that part.
Yes,
like,
it's just
it's a great
It's
thing.
just we
It's a
need
great
more.
thing, but
We
just
need
need
more.
more.
Is the bottom line. I want to see all the stories.
All of
Yes.
our stories. Yeah.
What about you?
At the end of the day, I said this earlier, like we really have to think about the value that we place on the approval of others. Ultimately,
Amen.
Like,
Amen.
there is a equally as covetable prize called an NAACP Image Award.
Oh man.
Which is just as hard, if not harder, to get.
Absolutely.
We hard on ours.
We are.
So
Yeah, you're right.
It really ultimately boils down to the value that you place on it. And like I sort of preface, I mean, it's a great thing to get an Academy Award. I'm not gonna downplay that. But at the end of the day, you can't be as bitter about it. What the landscape looks like, because it has as much power over us as we give it.
Exactly. Agree. I agree.
That's true.
All right.
Well, congratulations to him because, kudos to him because that's definitely going to be
Yeah.
something great, and I definitely want to check it out.
Yeah.
and
Winning
see
the
it.
Powerball.
Win the Powerball.
Shouts out to
exactly.
Nate Parker.
Shout out to him for real.
Yes, indeed.
All right, we're going to move on now to what we're all excited to talk about today, which is these three fellas in the room and their new projects they have going on. We have, of course, Ty and Dale, who are going to be in American Crime Story, The People versus O.J. Simpson.
Yes.
Coming up very soon.
Yes.
And also we have Demetrius, of course, who has starred in many movies of our favorites this year, Straight Outta Compton. We have 13 Hours. We got a whole bunch of things that are going on with you. So I want to start off with you two, actually, since we have the premiere coming up pretty soon for American Crime.
Tuesday.
Tell us about your characters. I know you're playing Jason.
Yes, sir.
So give us a little bit of backstory on how you got involved with the project and what we can expect from seeing you guys.
Well, I'll say that I went through the normal auditioning process, and then every weeks and weeks went by after my first audition, and I didn't hear anything, and I just saw a big name after big name after big name get attached, and I was like, okay, they're about to attach some name, and I just don't have a shot, and I got the call like 6 weeks, 2 months later that I got the job. So I don't know if I was like the
How
fifth
many times
choice.
did you audition?
Once.
Wow.
One time on
That's
tape.
really
One time
impressive.
They liked me enough to give me the job. Yeah.
Which is a good story for actors to know, that sometimes you don't hear right away. Sometimes it takes 2 months
man.
and you think it's gone, but there it is.
It's terrible. It's terrible. It's like I try to forget when I walk out the room. I literally try to just put it behind me. It's just like, they didn't like me, whatever. Move on.
And
It doesn't always happen though.
And you're playing Jason Simpson.
Yes.
And there's been a lot of
he's brilliant, by the
speculation
way.
through the, I'm sure, I can't wait to
get
see
out
it.
of here, man.
There's been a lot of speculation throughout the years of his involvement with the murder.
Yeah, I was shocked
And-
because I was like a little kid when all this happened. So
Don't brag.
this is all just like it was news to me, and I did some research after I got the role. I was like, let me just find out who he was a little bit. I didn't want to reach out to him personally, but I did some research in many circles, and a lot of people, conspiracy theories think that he was involved in some capacity.
Yeah.
And it was shocking to me, and then that made me really not want to reach out to him.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh no, I'm not.
Right, you're like, I'm good,
about
I'm
to
good.
Call this dude and have him.
On your radar.
Try to make me number 3, so I'm good. But yeah, it was interesting, and the series toys with that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Dale, tell us about your character.
I play Carl E. Douglas. He was the managing attorney at the Johnny Cochran law firm. So he was basically Johnny's right-hand man. So he was part of the Dream Team, and he wasn't as visible as a lot of the other guys. But now that I tell you about him, go look at almost every picture and every video. He was right there, and behind the scenes, he was very instrumental in helping with crafting the strategy. He managed all the attorneys in the office, and even to this day, he is one of the most amazing, incredible legal minds in the world. Matter of fact, he in 1999 he got the largest verdict at the time in history. $4.9 billion settlement from General Motors for 2 women and 4 children that for the families of them. Obviously, they were locked in their car and the engine blew up.
Wow.
So he's an extraordinary man.
Is he the one who came up with the let's try the bloodied glove where leather shrinks and was weird when it's wet strategy? Because even back then, because I was not 6 when it came out, young man, but your dimples are adorable. No, I remember thinking, why weren't they using a clean glove? Why aren't we trying this on with a clean glove? It probably would have fit.
As much as I'd love to, I want the answer to that is we're going to show you that.
Oh, okay,
we're going to go inside and actually show you exactly how all of that came about. Who came up with the idea, which I think will blow your mind. It's not who you think it is.
I am so looking forward
I can't wait.
It didn't come together like you think it did at all.
Yeah, they're going to be shocked about
They're going to be shocked.
And so did you two learn things about the story that you had no idea and no clue about prior to?
Every week, half of it.
Yeah.
Really?
New story, new opinions.
Yeah.
My opinion about was he guilty? Was Jason? It changed like every week. Like no, we would have debates. Like no, Jason did it. Jason did it. And then like the next week, like nah, man, it wasn't Jason. It was the hitman. It was the hit. Like we would have like new theories every week. So it was constant.
And we explore it.
Wow.
Yeah, we look at that, and that's what's really interesting. And I personally, and I've heard other people involved with the project say this. I don't necessarily think you'll change your mind.
Yeah.
If you have an opinion today, I don't think that'll change when you finish watching it. But I believe you will absolutely understand why he was acquitted.
Okay.
I don't think anyone will question
See, that's where I really want to find that out.
No, me too. I'm looking forward to that, to knowing why.
And in fact, I believe a significant amount of the population would acquit him as well.
Really?
In that situation.
Too much circumstantial evidence? Well, I gotta watch the
miniseries.
Just watch it.
You gotta watch it. That day and age, there's a reason why.
And then it has an all-star cast with you two as well. Cuba Gooding, who's playing O.J. Simpson, John Travolta, Courtney B. Vance. How is it working with the ensemble cast of all that talent?
Nuts. It was like a master's class in acting.
Every day you learn something.
Yeah. Well, one of the craziest parts, I know Jason was like this as well. There were hours and hours and scenes where you've got this courtroom and you've got, I think it was 200 people in that courtroom, 100 and something people in that courtroom all day shooting a close-up of, Johnny Cochran's speech, but they've got like 5 or 6 cameras capturing everybody in the room. Yeah. So you've got, a dozen, almost 2 dozen characters, that aren't speaking all day throughout this whole speech that's going on, but every character had to be absolutely in the moment, had to make their choices based on everything that Johnny Cochran is saying. You got cameras whipping around, getting you when you're not.
So they really used like 6 cameras?
Oh, yeah.
Because for most people don't know this, but back in the day when you shot a movie, you would use 1 camera. Right. Way back in the day. Sitcoms sometimes use 4, the ones that look like videotape, but a movie, I'm such a nerd.
You broke it down.
I love that that's the word you chose to go with, because that's not where I was
I'm a geek nerd. But the fact that you can have 6 cameras actually speeds it up and enabled you to shoot this movie in the time that you did, right?
The editor told me last night at the premiere, he said there's one 4-minute scene that they had 9 hours of footage.
Wow. Oh, because it's right,
to
all
cut
the different
together,
cameras.
all the different cameras, the shooting and the shooting and the takes and the takes, just to get those perfect, intense moments. And hands off to Ryan Murphy and the rest of the crew. When you see it, you'll see why.
Yes, it's gonna be.
That's nice, but who was the biggest asshole? that you worked with on set?
I was.
Easy.
Come on, who was the diva?
No, I don't think there wasn't anybody. There wasn't anybody.
I had to ask.
That's a double negative. You said there wasn't any.
So there was. Who was it?
No, everybody was great. Everybody was great to work with. They were all nice and very warm and constantly engaging me and dropping knowledge on me. I just took it all in. Like Dale said, it was like a master class.
Yeah.
Like when you see those greats, and they are greats, go to work in such a level of professionalism, as well as just talent.
The amount of dialogue sometimes they would have. They would have to come in and all those standing on at the stand, giving those those speeches and the closing arguments, opening arguments, having to remember that stuff and play the emotional truth of those attorneys in that moment.
Staying in character.
Staying in character in between takes. But I will say this, working with John Travolta is nuts. I mean, there were moments when I was like, man, that's the dude. Grease right there.
Right.
Man. That's my man.
That's the legend.
That's Vinny Barbarino right there, man. That's the legend.
And they brought that to the set too. Although it was such an intense thing there, we're recreating history and it was such a dramatic time. It was fun too.
It was fun.
They brought a lightheartedness to that set, to that work environment that you wouldn't normally expect.
Cuba's crazy.
John Travolta's crazy. Like all of them brought fun to it.
Sarah Paulson is crazy.
She's so talented.
She was shooting 2 shows at the same time.
Yeah, she's super talented.
She's shooting 2 series simultaneously.
Yeah, American Horror Story.
She was running back and forth across the hallway, and in my opinion, she gave one of the, if not the best performance I've ever seen on television.
Marsha Clark. She looks like her, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I know that wig was.
Well, I want to get more into this, but I also want to talk to Demetrius really quick as well about, we've been talking about Straight Outta Compton a lot, and you obviously starred in that. So tell the public about your character in the movie, first of all.
My character was a trap king, basically.
I'm like, hey, what's up?
No, I think what's more interesting is how it came about. We went to I went to a open call casting that was down in South Central. F. Gary Gray did a cattle call basically, so I didn't go through agents or anything like that or managers.
How many people were ahead
of
you?
There were literally probably about 700 people out there.
That's right. An open call means it's literally a line around a city block of people.
Yeah. Like American Idol.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we were all wrapped around this recreation center, and we're out there all day. And then I finally got to go in last. And
you were dead last?
I was one of the last five people that were there. In fact, I wasn't actually originally going to be able to go in because they were only looking for the band members. And so I actually originally read for Dr. Dre.
Okay.
And so eventually I got in and did my thing as Dre. And they called 2 months later and can you come down to the set today? And so that was really interesting.
Wow.
That was a
Wait, nobody called and said you got the job. You just got a call.
I got a call the day we were shooting.
Wow.
That's nuts.
I happened to be
So anything
here
is
in
possible
LA.
in Hollywood. That's what that note is.
What if you had missed that call?
Then I wouldn't be here talking to you about Straight Outta Compton.
Touche.
That's crazy. Can you come down today?
Right.
Man, that's wild.
Yeah,
And
contracts got figured real quick.
Real quick. Right.
Yeah, they figured it out.
And now, a lot of people who have been a part of that project has said that when they were just filming that, they felt that it just felt right. Like it felt like this is going to be a sensational movie. Did you have that same feeling being on set and just being involved with all those actors and F. Gary Gray?
I did. I think our set design, our costumes, our hair, everything was so seamless. Everything was. I really felt like I transported in time at one point. I was in the opening scene of the movie, and so if you remember the film, we're in 1986, I think we are, and it's like a crack house and trap house is I guess more politically correct term.
Keep it PC here.
No, I had no idea what you guys were talking
Fetty
about.
Wap, you know what I mean?
No.
Hey, what's up? Hello.
But now that song's going to be in my head the rest of the day.
17,
And I hate that song, I really do.
Not the girl. Sorry.
So,
Is that where you pulled in Spring?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we had the Fetty on rotation, but it felt like the real thing. So oftentimes you're on a set and
So you guys were doing
you
crack?
can kind of see the line. No, but we were there was crack around. No, there was not.
No method.
You were not
No
doing
method
that.
acting.
No
for
method
that.
acting.
We
right.
have great prop masters for that.
Which that first opening scene is,
Oh.
I gotta
It set
say,
the tone for
one
the
of
movie.
the best
Yeah.
scenes I've ever seen in a movie. That just emotionally, we watched it together, and
Literally.
it was just so intense.
Yeah.
Just the blasting through the door, just everything about that opening scene. I was here for the. That movie could have been 4 hours, and I would have been.
That's
That
what I
scene
said, yeah.
actually
Yeah.
wasn't originally the first scene of the movie.
Really?
Nah, and in fact,
Really?
the whole scene was written completely differently. My character was called Jittery Dude Number 1. And
Jittery Dude number 1.
Jason and I got into it. We started freestyling a little bit, not like rap freestyling, but I guess you call it improvisation.
There you go,
We
improv.
started doing that a little bit. Gary has this thing where he says, "All right, y'all can eat," and that just basically means, okay, we got that one. That's on the page now. Let's
Does it mean like eat up the
man.
scenery? Like you guys just
chew
chew
up
it
the
up?
scene. Yeah,
Just
chew it up.
Go
Basically
for
the
it.
same
That's
thing.
cool.
Exactly.
Man,
And so that scene wasn't even page 1 in the original script, and so eventually, I guess because of the authenticity that everybody brought to it, they felt
Yeah,
like
that was
Universal
intentional.
felt like it needed to kick off the film to really
Oh,
it
let
kicked
people
it
know
off.
the
It
world
kicked
that we
it,
were
yeah.
in
I turned to
and
him
who
and
these
was like,
characters were.
You're like,
accomplished.
what the hell are we
We already
about
knew
to
what
watch
time it
right
was.
now?
Yeah.
Like that. Oof.
I mean, it's very rare I sit through a movie like that and when it's over, I'm upset that it's over.
Yep.
I could have sat in there, like you said, went a couple more hours for the film, which kudos to you guys for the performances.
Thank you, Derek.
And obviously, this has been a big subject around the Oscars because of the diss, basically, that the Oscars has given this movie and some of the performances that people feel should have been nominated. How do you feel, how all you guys feel about just this diversity issue that we're dealing with right now with Straight Outta Compton, with just a variety of films and the lack of somewhat what it seems like the respect of some African-American actors being nominated in these categories?
Well, I don't necessarily think it's a lack of respect. I'm trying to play devil's advocate here. I think that maybe Straight Outta Compton was a story that people might not understand, and it didn't resonate with a wide
But they
audience.
understood
I
hustle
mean,
and
you.
flow.
I mean, hustle.
Right. I mean, that's
Yeah,
a good point. That's a good point.
And I get it. That's why I said I'm playing devil's advocate. I disagree, but maybe it just didn't resonate. Maybe they didn't understand that type of story.
But they also didn't nominate like Beast of No Nation. That's we can all
That-
agree that's a really
I
good
mean,
They
movie.
keep pulling
Yeah.
it from the Netflixing. That's why they
Yeah,
keep
yeah.
saying
And that's what I was gonna say. I think that's more so because it was a Netflix movie. Like,
But
if
it still
that-
was released in a certain amount of
Yeah,
theaters,
but-
though.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it counts.
It
counts.
should count. Theoretically, it should count. And once again, I'm playing
I
devil's
feel you. I
advocate.
feel you.
Devil's advocate.
I
I don't
can't-
agree with that.
No, I hear
I don't
you.
agree with it. I think that it should have been nominated. I think there should have been a Best Supporting Actor nomination as well. But that's just.
But like, did you guys think that? I know a lot of people on Twitter were up in arms that Stallone got nominated for Rocky and not the main character. I don't know that either
Michael B.
one
Jordan, yeah.
deserved. I think he's so talented.
Yeah.
Great role. Did amazing in it. Is it an Oscar movie? I don't know. Maybe. But what is it? I guess what is an Oscar movie these days? Like,
Yeah.
again, if Marissa can win for My Cousin Vinny,
Yeah.
which was a very great comedic performance, but I would have thought that was more TV
I
than,
agree with
than
you.
Also, we have
feature
to,
film,
we have
to be
to
honest.
remember there's a specific amount of Academy members that have very specific tastes.
Yeah.
They have
Well-
their
Yeah.
background and what speaks to them, and some
Once-
of them
once
did
we-
like
70-year-old
That's what I'm
white
saying.
70-year-old white man watching Straight Outta Compton, he probably is not going to
That's
resonate.
what I was
even-
alluding
but that's
to.
who votes.
Right, yeah,
Right,
I mean,
but
they just
even
said-
it should, but it should in a perfect world they should be able to judge art for art.
Yeah.
But they're not going to understand it straight out of Compton.
But that's what
But
blows my mind. How are you judging art when you can't sit
Right.
and
But once the
honestly judge art?
once the genetic makeup of those guys changes, much
That's-
like the
Things
Supreme
change.
Court,
That's
once
exactly-
It'll
the
change.
people,
Well, that is why we have presidents come in and pick Supreme Court people, because you bring your prejudices to your legal decisions.
Right.
That you can't separate them, even
Yeah.
though you're supposed to. There's a reason, that they do that. And I think similarly, that's why I think what Cheryl Boone Isaacs is doing at the
Yeah.
Academy is smart. She's shaking it up a
She
little
is.
bit.
It's going to
And
take
also,
time.
a lot of people don't realize, and I was really studying this, and I'm by no means an expert, but the way that a winner is chosen, like Straight Outta Compton could have been everyone's third or fourth favorite film. But if it was everyone's, and I'm drawing a very simple math here, it might not work exactly like this, but basically the concept is Straight Outta Compton could have been everyone's fourth favorite film, everyone's. But because you have some people chose this person as 1 and this person as 9, and this person had one, but then this person had two.
It's the
And then
average?
It's a weighted.
It's
It's
a
a
weighted
sort of
average.
weighted
Yeah.
average. That at the end of the day, the math can round out that it gets pushed down to beyond the cutoff. It's not to say that many voters chose it as number one. It could well have been that way. We won't know.
Crazy.
Some people might have chosen him as one. Some people might have chosen him as dead last. So
Was it nominated for a SAG award? So that's
Yeah.
good.
And it got nominated for, by the Academy for the writers.
It did.
It'll win NAACP. It'll win.
I think it also.
But people aren't up in arms about the writers thing.
Yeah.
Obviously.
We're not going to go on the record. about
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Joy for a second? Because
Thank you.
I love.
How did that even get nominated? Because it just came up.
I love Blonde Thingy. She's really talented.
Jennifer-
I think she's super. No, I think she's super.
Hunger Games.
I forgot her name.
Jennifer
What?
Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence.
Having a hot laugh. No, I think she's super talented. But if you saw Joy, that was.
The story was cool, but I didn't think that she brought Hunger Game acting to it.
No, but I also think if you're a 70-year-old Academy voter guy, she looks like your granddaughter, or you want to date her. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just gonna
They
pull on their
love
heartstrings.
her.
Right.
They love
I
her
think she's awesome,
and
by
David
the way.
Russell.
Yeah, and that
David
story
Russell.
was a good.
And they love him. So.
But and this isn't just a black and white issue. Like I remember I was at the Vanity Fair Oscar party dinner, and I think it was the year Chris Rock hosted, and this was in the 90s, and it was the year that I'm also blonde. Gwyneth Paltrow won for.
She said I'm also.
She said I'm also blonde.
Won for Shakespeare in Love. Now that particular year, and I'm forgetting this woman's name, but there was a 60-something-year-old South American woman who was nominated, and her performance was phenomenal, hands down, best actress. She didn't win. Gwyneth Paltrow won because she's a stunning blonde girl, and this woman was pretty vocal about being pissed off about that back then. So it's it's not just a black and white thing. We have to acknowledge that it's a hair color thing. But it's everyone. It's Spanish people. Like I actually don't whine that much about the lack of jobs per se for me because I have a lot of Asian and Spanish friends, and I'm like, oh snap, you guys have it rough. No, but really, like they have to do a Mandarin or a Cantonese accent every time they do an audition. And their families have been in this country for 150 years,
Right.
and they're still playing immigrants.
The 7-Eleven guy. They will
That's
always
right.
be the 7-Eleven.
So
Yeah,
it
it's
doesn't
terrible.
mean we can't acknowledge our struggle in it, but I would love it if it was inclusive of everybody.
They just haven't gotten this vocal yet, but I think it's baby steps.
Yeah,
We're fighting the power.
We're
so
getting
to
there
speak.
slowly but surely. I mean, like you said, Cheryl brought in 322 new members last year to help with the voting process. I think it's just going to take time for that to kind of swirl itself in, no pun intended.
I feel like we're seeing it with TV.
We're seeing it a little bit. We're seeing a little bit. We definitely saw it with Emmy.
It was seemed like a very diverse cast that I saw over at NBC.
Yeah.
So that's coming out this year.
Yeah, that comes out this year. You have David Lyons, Lorenz Tate. Lorenz, brother to the night.
So can you kind of
myself.
just say a little bit about what the story is? Because
I can say a little bit.
I read it, but it's like something happened back in the day. But I just want to know, what did you guys do?
So long ago.
Can you give me any sort of like?
We were in a juvenile detention center, and a lot of stuff went on at the juvenile detention center, and then everybody went their separate ways. 20 years later, all those secrets and skeletons in the closet.
So you guys
get
are
up
all
and start
back in
running
the same
around.
town or something?
And you guys play like a game of silence?
Yeah, proverbially speaking, yeah. we'll call it a game of silence.
Is it a limited series, or is it like a 10-episode thing? Or
It's
is
a
it
10-episode on NBC. It'll start April 7th is our premiere date. It's going to come in right after Shades of Blue, Jennifer Lopez's show. So after their show,
Good slot.
we come in that slot Thursday at 10.
Because Jennifer's show is killing it right now too. So
Yeah, it's good. Ray Liotta is the man.
Yeah.
Ever since I was a kid, I always wanted to be a gangster.
Excellent.
that's pretty good.
I was so scared to meet him until I actually met him. He was the nicest person in the world, but that face he got.
Man, he's intense.
He's intense.
What was that movie? Unlawful Entry?
Yeah, unlawful entry.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Random moment.
Take it back.
So April
7th it comes out, and it's cool because like you said, it's some very diverse cast, and so one thing we've been hearing from the network and people have seen it is that everybody has a character they can plug into and see it. and see it through that through their lens, you know. So
What's your character?
Play Terry Bosch. I'm a businessman and a father, but I'm also involved in clandestine activities.
As you say that with a smirk and a smile, that intrigued me a little bit. I want to know a little bit more.
Yeah. You know, so and I'm one of the kids who was in the juvenile center corrections facility who made good, so to speak. And
did you?
We'll find out.
We will find out. Yeah. It's great though. It's hard to really give too much away. That's what's been. Yeah, it's hard to tell you about it.
I'm like trying to put
It's about these
together.
kids who were in a situation when they were young and time moves on and they find themselves in the rapture of all of those secrets and they try to preserve their relationships and their lifestyles and keep everything, you know, all good. And the series takes place as soon as they get back together, they reconnect, and that's where we start.
And what's the date of the release of that?
April 7th on
April
NBC.
7th on NBC.
Strong, diverse cast.
Check that out. And then
Did you audition normally with that one? Or?
Did I audition normally?
Or was it like the Straight Outta Compton thing?
They just kind of call it.
Did I go out to a rec center?
Like, wait,
so we get the call the same day again? Or no?
Yeah, I auditioned normally for that. I guess normal if normal is going to a producer session with Carol Mendelsohn and the creators of House and you know all it. It was like I got lucky on that one. I got to go into the producers.
You was prepared, man.
Yeah, I got to go in and meet with the producers for the first one. But then I did my first screen test for that one. I've done other things, but this one was a screen test.
Are you at a proper, but like a proper screen test?
Like a proper screen test, which I thought was
Like with other
antiquated.
actors?
Yeah,
I
wait,
didn't
what is
know.
the difference between an improper
Well,
one?
like when you test for a show, usually you're just in a room where the executives are over there, you're here, it's a room, you do your thing. But a proper screen test.
It's like they have a little bit of set, you have a little bit of an outfit, they may be
microphone.
placing you
You've got
with a
makeup,
chemistry read. Like
they're using a real, not a crappy little iPhone camera. They're shooting it with the camera they're probably
have
going to shoot the
lights like
project
this.
with.
And you have to do it against somebody too, or just you?
I did it with me and the guy who was up to play my brother. In fact, actually, the guy who was gonna play me was Method Man. So I was glad that he did his screen test after me because I didn't want to go in and just be sitting in the waiting room talking to Method Man and then go in because I was a Wu-Tang fan. I'm still a Wu-Tang fan. So I was glad that when I walked out, I saw Method Man and I didn't see him before I go in, so I could stay in my zone.
And then Dale, the American Crime Story premieres when?
April, you got me saying April. Next week, Tuesday, February
Tuesday.
2nd, 10 o'clock, 9
FX.
Central. FX. Yes.
And I got to ask a random fan question. So I know Ryan Murphy on American Horror Story carries the cast over into other seasons. Has that been a conversation with American Crime?
Not with me yet. Maybe big time over here.
I haven't heard anything of that nature. I know he typically does it, but you got 2 black guys here, and for season 2, it's going to be in New Orleans.
It's going to be a lot of
about,
black people.
Hurricane Katrina.
I cornered Ryan
about
last night.
Katrina.
I said,
Yeah.
Ryan, come on,
Yeah, so
I'll play brother number 3.
Yeah, man.
Hold on to a life raft or something. Whatever. I'm in. And he laughed and he said,
Yeah. We'll talk.
And we just heard about Demetrius' new project. Now, I know you also have Greenleaf coming out.
Yeah, I'm on a new series. I'm actually in town right now. I got to go back to Atlanta on Saturday. I'm on a series with Oprah.
That's why I get excited when I hear Oprah.
Yeah. Man, I get excited.
That's
I
the
get
queen.
excited. And she's just as dope as you hope and think she is.
Yeah.
She would be. It premieres May 24th and 25th. We're doing a 2-night premiere. It's on the OWN network. She's not only producing it on her network, but she's also starring in it too. It's her return to TV. Yeah.
Wow, that's big.
Yeah.
When did she sleep? Like
I don't
always hear
know.
about
I'm
all
telling
these
you, in between
things that she
scenes,
does.
she was filming a scene, and in between the scene, they reset up other stuff. She's literally getting notes from other people about other business ventures. Like literally, people are coming up, Weight Watchers, da-da. She's like, okay, and then somebody else is telling her something else, and then she jumps right back in the scene, just seamlessly.
Well, we did 2 episodes of Welcome to Sweetie Pie this year for our Black Hollywood Live anniversary, and every little detail of how we shot it, they said that she signs off on everything. She literally signed off on everything. I'm like, how does she do that and do what she does at all times? When does she sleep? That's the question.
She's a boss.
I don't know.
She's a boss.
What's yours about?
It's about a family that owns a church in Memphis. You get some of that southern root of impossible potential drama that people think happens in churches. So
Gotcha.
I play the son-in-law. I'm married to Keith David's daughter. Okay. So Keith David's in it, Lynn Whitfield. So you have some
nice cast.
Some heavyweights in there. And once again, I'm just along for the ride, learning.
I feel
playing with these heavyweights. Hopefully one day.
Jesus just out here.
You're getting it. You're doing it.
Man, yeah.
And Dale, what's your next project you got working on?
Right now, I'm behind the camera. I'm producing a film right now with the creator of Final Destination franchise. Yeah.
You already all right?
Is it a horror? Is it a horror?
Horror thriller. It's nuts. Takes place on a college campus. It's called Superstition.
I need a job.
And
you got a job, brother.
Hey, he got 12 jobs. I'm going to act in it too, so I'm excited about that.
And when is it planned to come out?
We're in pre-production now. We're hoping we can get it out. We'll be shooting in about 60 days, and we hope to get it out by Halloween.
Okay.
This year. That's the goal.
This year.
Yeah, it's with Lionsgate. We're with Cold
hey, listen, they're masters at putting out they put out the Saws and Hostels and all that stuff. Yeah. Well, congratulations on that. I'm a big horror fan, so I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Hey, a lot of people
especially a brother who's involved with it too.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna appreciate this. You know, the creator of that $650 million Final Destination franchise is a black man.
Stop it.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Jeffrey
that.
Reddick. Check him out.
Okay.
That's my business partner. We're doing a whole bunch of stuff together, and we're anxious for the world to know that, because we definitely we went out of our way to our casting is diverse. Matter of fact, that's our thing. And when we announced it publicly, is that you're going to have blacks, Latinos, Asians, gay characters. We're going to have as the leads. Yeah. You know, not just and a black guy's in there.
Right. You know, right. The token.
You know, absolutely.
He's not going to die first.
He ain't going to die first.
Yeah.
He's like, well, maybe.
But yeah, so that's what I'm working on.
All right, well, congratulations, fellas. You know what? This is, I'm sad to have to go right now, because I feel like this is what it's all about. You know, we've been talking about all these terrible things of the lack of, but this room is the opposite of that. People doing things, big things. So where can fans find you on social media? We'll start with you, Demetrius.
You can find me at Demetrius Grosse on Twitter and IG at Demetrius Grosse.
All right. Ty, where can they find you?
They can find me at We Want Ty White with a Ty with an E. We Want Ty White.
Dale?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Dale Godboldo, DaleGodboldo, and then Facebook at Official Dale Godboldo.
Okay. Yeah. The beautiful Rachel True, where they can find you?
Oh, I'm at Rachel True on Twitter, and on Instagram, I am at True Rachel True. That's me.
All right. DJ Jesse J.
Everywhere at DJ Jesse J.
And you can find me at Daryl Kristen on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and Snapchat, and Periscope. So thank you guys for all coming in, and gals. It's been a fun show today.
Thanks for having me.
I think we covered a lot about Hollywood today, so I'm looking forward to see all these projects coming out.
All right.
Everybody else, have a great weekend, and be sure to tune in to Black Hollywood Live next week.
Bye.
Thank you.
Peace.
From executives Kevin Undergaro, Daryl Kristen, Tiana Hobson, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us. info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I am the official voice of Black Hollywood Live, Scipio. Instagram me at KingXOBay. Thanks for tuning in.
Rachel, I love that.
Hollywood redefined.
The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.